Gonna record in my kingaroony. Week 2 of 2020. Filming every day, every week in 2020. It doesn't have to be a long video, guys. It can be a short, dumb video. This is not going to be one of those short, dumb videos, despite what I'm wearing. But it's gonna be short. Hi, guys. It is I, Ruthie, in an narwhal costume. And my new friend Shark. This is a TikTok bit. I just got done filming TikToks. This is week 2 of 2020, so that means that it's time for another video. Videos will be released either Friday through Sunday. It really depends on what I have going on. All right, so what are we talking about this week, friends? What are we gonna talk about this week? I just finished playing. Whoa, the cat's right behind me, by the way. He's right here. What a good kitty. I just finished streaming The Last of Us. It was the first game of 2020, and I beat it in 4 days. 4 days of like 4 or 5 hour sessions. So it's still a bit, but like, you know. I wanted to talk about Last of Us a bit and some of my experience with The Last of Us before The Last of Us 2 comes out. So this is going to be a review. It's going to have some minor spoilers, but I don't think I'm going to re-go through the story. I do have the archives up for The Last of Us 2, so if you missed it, I'll have a link to the archive channel so you can watch it. Before I get too into it, I just want to say Last of Us is a good game, and if you have a PlayStation 3 or a PlayStation 4, I highly recommend that you play it and you get through at least the first hour of game. I had someone tell me that their friend didn't want to play all of Last of Us because they only played the first section and didn't play the rest of the game. And you know what? I really hate that. I really hate it when people don't give the game enough chance to be a game. Some people were like that with Death Stranding. Death Stranding doesn't really get good until chapter 3, and some people just stopped at like chapter 2. I get that you want every single game to just be a banger when you first start it up, but it ain't always like that. Also, The Last of Us has such a great, good first scene. Scene being like first gameplay chunk. I believe that The Last of Us has really good pacing and not the best combat. I feel like there's some clunkiness, and I only think that the clunkiness really comes from the fact that this game was made in like, what, 2012? Oh, the cat got out. The cat got out of the bag. That means I can take this whole chair. The game was probably made in like, you know, between the era of like 2010 and 2012. You know, however long games take to make. My voice cracked. So there is clunkiness. One of my grips is actually about a grip. One of my gripes is it's sometimes hard when you first start figuring out how to look at something and like lift someone up. You have to sometimes get in the prime hoisting spot, and it can get really annoying. The combat has a little bit of clunkiness too. The clunkiness comes from just how not smooth sometimes grabbing someone so that way you can do a stealth kill when they're coming at you is. It's not very smooth, but that's okay. And you know what? These are actually really small gripes. I didn't really come across any glitches. The puzzles, not too hard, not too easy either. You know, there's a really good middle, and that's great. And the story has got great pacing. Generally, it goes gameplay chunk, long story bit, gameplay chunk, story bit. And the story bits are always so good. The dynamic between Ellie and Joel, just top tier drama. Ellie is just this spunky little 14-year-old who has an attitude problem, and Joel is a grumpy old man with an attitude problem. And they balance each other out really nicely. For those of you who don't know, at the beginning of the game, Joel loses his daughter, Sarah. I feel like Sarah and Ellie are very, very similar person-wise, and that was obviously on purpose. And Joel has become jaded since Sarah died. So He doesn't want to get close to Ellie, and that's kind of the main conflict. The main emotional conflict is Joel accepting Ellie. To address the ending, I think that Joel did exactly what his character would do. How they've been building his character. It's perfect. It's exactly what he do. Some people are upset at him for making that decision, or for the game makers for making that decision. But I think that if they did any other decision, it would have completely betrayed Joel's character, and we wouldn't have A Last of Us 2. Now that we've got the review part out of the way, by the way, solid 8 or 9 out of 10. Last of Us is one of my top 5, 10 favorite games. I don't have an actual itemized list, but Last of Us, pretty high up there. Let me explain why it's so high up there. Last of Us has a lot of emotional attachment. Not a lot of people know, or everybody does. I don't know. I talk about it a lot, but I had really strict parents. And Last of Us was not the first, but the second game that I played that wasn't what they would want me to play. If that makes sense. First game was Heavy Rain, and I would love to revisit Heavy Rain so I can get a perfect ending. But Heavy Rain also has a really special place in my heart because of it being the first game that I played that my parents wouldn't be cool with, but it was still really freaking awesome. The Last of Us was different. I played it with a friend named Mikey, and he actually played before me. So it was me, Mikey, and my sister all sat down, and we just spent all day and some of the night, and however long it took us to finish this game, just watching they were watching me, I was playing, and I don't know, it was really nice. I have always been really into video games, but I didn't have a lot of video games to play. Last of Us was the first game to show me that gaming is truly an art form. The game was like top of the line graphics at the time. I hadn't played a lot of games, so the gameplay was just so awesome. What do you mean I can shoot a bow and arrow from fucking over here and he doesn't know where it came from? What do you mean? Stuff like that blew my tiny, tiny gamer mind. Since then, I've played lots of games. I got through this game pretty quickly because I wouldn't say I'm a good gamer, but I am a lot better than I was because I was really fucking bad. My number one story from Last of Us is the wet floor sign. If you haven't stopped by Twitch, or you don't really like video games and you just like hearing me talk about my past experiences, I'm going to tell you about the wet floor signs. The wet floor signs are our enemy. Forever. We will spear them on our narwhal horns. Wet floor signs are bad. Not in real life. In real life, they help you avoid legality issues and stuff like that. We're talking video games only. In every Twitch game I play, if I see a wet floor sign and they let me knock it down, I will. And why is that, Ruthie? I'm gonna tell you. The reason why I always knock them down is because in Last of Us, there is a school that you pass through. I tried finding the same location, but the wet floor sign wasn't there, so they either moved it, or maybe it's not exactly the school that I'm thinking about. I can't really remember where it was at, but I do remember it. I just remember the moment so well. It's a really tense part of the game, I remember that. And there's just clickers everywhere. If you don't know what clickers are zombies that sense people or things through clicking noises because they're blind. If they find you and they hit you, it's a one-hit kill. So these guys, not something to fuck with. Here I was, sneaky beaking around. Super sneaky. And out of nowhere, this wet floor sign appears. It wasn't out of nowhere, I just didn't see it. And I don't know if my pinky toe or an arrow booped it, but it fell over. We were surrounded by clickers, guys. Surrounded. Needless to say, I died. When I came back to life, because of respawning. I systematically killed every single clicker in that goddamn area. And then I knocked down that goddamn wet floor sign. Thus, the tradition of killing every wet floor sign in video games begun. My arch nemesis is wet floor signs, Brucey boy. To conclude this very quick video, The Last of Us still holds up with minor clunkiness. There's just a tiny bit. Do you see? Tiny bit of clunkiness. And you know what? The story and the emotional beats that the story hits are so good that I can ignore the clunkiness. Personally. If you can't, watching a gameplay, like a let's play of it, will probably give you the same effect. The story is the most important part of Last of Us. And I think it's a really good story. And I think if they really wanted to, The Last of Us could probably be adapted to a movie or a series, and I think that would be super fucking cool. This video did not have a script, so I hope that I can edit it to make at least a little bit of sense. And I hope that you also like this video because we are reaching its conclusion. So thank you so much for watching this week's video. If you have any idea for videos so that way I can reach my goal of making a video every once a week, let me know in the comments below. All right, we've reached the end of the video. If you want to support me monetarily, patreon.com/RuthieTheUntoldSitcom. That's a place you could throw money. Ko-Fi, it's like PayPal but safer. And it has these Ko-Fi.com. We have two $25 Patreons. And this week we have a returning Patreon, GoatGM. GoatGM is a streamer on Twitch, and he does art, Tarkov, and just all this fun stuff. So go check Goat the GM on twitch.tv/GoatGM. We have a new $25 Patreon, so let me go look this person up real quick. The next person I'm going to shout out is Residenka. I'm bad with names. I looked at their TikTok, which is what I recognize their name from, and they don't have any TikToks. I don't know if they're a content creator, but I'm still going to shout them out, because you know what? I noticed your name. Residenka is usually one of the first people to like my TikToks, and you know what? I noticed, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Anyway, I'm done plugging myself, so hey, you're awesome. Here we go. Here's a heart. Just for you. Save it for later. Use it right now. Save it for later. I don't know. You do you, my dude. Make sure you do some hydrating. Get a good stretch in, and I'll see you next week. Huh? Yeah. See you next week, my guys, my dudes, my girls, my womans, my non-binaries. See you next week. Woo!